I want to do a quick introduction video for Project 4. Just some things that want you guys keep in mind as you're going into this week and to start planning for this Project 4. So this is the big paper, and this is the one where you're going to kind of wrap up all the research and the writing and the thinking that we've done so far for this class. And so a lot of these elements are going to hopefully will come together for you in the writing of this paper. So this paper really is where we're going to answer this big question that I've been asking you, kind of, or dancing around, or kind of having you guys explore a little bit in some ways through these other projects. But through Project 4, the question I really want you to answer is, how has some aspect of what's gone on in your career field, this historical artifact that I keep talking about, how has it changed the way things are done within your career field? And so through Project 3, you probably should have a good sense of where you want to go with this, but this is where you're going to need to really do your writing and your research and start to let these ideas breathe a little bit in this paper. One thing I do want to stress, though, I've seen a lot more in this class than some of my other ones, is just to keep your writing simple. I don't need, overly complex language tends to be overly wrought writing and can be a little confusing. So just, write as simply as you can. You don't need to, really stretch yourself past what your writing skills are. Just keep it simple for yourself. All right, so things I do want you guys to keep in mind is good organization of this paper. So I want you to think in advance and do some actual planning and about how you're going to write this paper out. It shouldn't be too tough. I think you probably should have a good sense of, the kind of the structure of how you want to approach talking about how this artifact has impacted your writing. But make sure you're doing that good planning up front. That's going to help you in the long run. I do want you to focus a lot on in-text citations. I've seen some haphazard use of in-text citations. You have to have them. If the work is not yours, if you're borrowing somebody else's idea, if you have a direct quote, all that stuff, especially in APA, you have to have, in both MLA and APA, but I was thinking APA because of the year. But when you bring in somebody else's work, you have to have an in-text citation. You have to source that information from somewhere because you didn't come up with it. It's unfair for the other person who did the work, who did the research, did the study, or did whatever it took to get that evidence that you're using. You have to give credit for that. If you don't, you're going to bump into or border on plagiarism, and really that if there's a suspicion of plagiarism and I have to track that down, it gets really messy and really uncomfortable. So please don't make me go down that path of suspected cases of plagiarism. I don't really want to do that work. And plus, it's unfair to you because you know how to do the in-text citations and do the proper sourcing for this material anyway. So just don't do it. If you have questions at all about how to do those in-text citations, I'm here. You just have to ask me, and I'll be glad to help you. This is the work that we would do in class if we were normally going to be together in class. So it makes it a little more difficult, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. And remember that if you have a source in the body of your paper that you have an in-text citation for, it has to correlate with something down in either your works cited or your references list. So just think about them being connected through some kind of a wire or some filament. If you shake the one in the body of your paper, you have to see it shake down to the bottom too, in your works cited or your references list. Another thing that I've seen a lot, and I don't know if this is a matter of familiarity or what, but if you are citing a source, it doesn't matter if they're a family member. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. I don't really care. Particularly, it's even more egregious, of course, when it's somebody you don't know who's some kind of expert in something. If you're going to cite a source and you're going to use them on a second reference, use their last name. Don't use their first name. In almost all cases, you don't know these people, so there's no way of it would be improper for you to use their first names if you don't know them, and even if you do know them, just use their last name. That's kind of standard in almost all writing, academic or journalistic writing, is to use last names and second references. The other thing that I always see you all have, no matter what, in all of my classes, is overuse of pronouns. Pronouns really dilute your writing, and they strip away meaning from what you're saying. So when you're going to go through and do your subsequent evaluation of your writing, you do some editing and some revision. Make sure that you're looking for those pronouns and ask, is this pronoun actually needed here, or should I replace it with the noun, the proper noun that, if I'm talking about people, why don't you give the person's name? If you're talking about, something that you can identify it, because that's going to eliminate any kind of lack of clarity. So do that. All right, so I know we did this annotated bibliography for project 3. That was for project 3. So the annotations, so where you have, your source, your entry for either your works cited or your MLA, your works cited or references list. And then underneath it, you had that annotation where you gave some kind of an explanation of a summary of what that source was or how you think it might benefit you. That is for a research proposal. That is not for your final paper. So what I want you to, I don't want to see an annotated bibliography in this 4th assignment, this project 4. I just want you to see a traditional works cited or references list. Okay, so don't put that entire annotated bibliography in here. That's going to show me that you're not paying attention and you're not listening if you do that. So keep that out. I just want the entries as you would normally do it in any old other paper. Okay. And then probably the thing that I'm struggling with the most is, particularly with this shortened class, because I don't feel right for trying to force you guys to contact me. But if you need help, you just have to ask for it. There have been, very limited cases so far where people have actually reached out to me and said, hey, can you help me out? That's what I get paid to do, and I really want to be here. I really want to do that for you guys. So please, if you feel like you're at all stuck, you don't know, like, I'm not sure how to do this thing, or is this citation right, or my organization right, you got to let me know. I'm not a mind reader, so you have to let me know, and we'll find a way to make that work. So we can get together and talk or discuss, or you can show me the question that you're having about the writing of your organization. Anyway, all right, so this is for project 4. I want you to get writing. We don't have a lot of time for this. It's a long paper for the short amount of time, but hopefully the work that you've done already with the first 3 projects is going to help you to get this done and move on to getting the final portfolio work done too. All right, more about that later though. All right, get on work on project 4.